Hello. I've been trying to accommodate my person to move into a smaller yet thicker notebook with much more pages, and well, here it is. I started to bind a book. There it is. Several hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. These are all of these Moleskine Cahier. These are produced in Vietnam, which is, in my opinion, the best paper there is from Moleskine. And I just, so this is half of the size of a B5. I can't, it's too small. It feels to me like, you know, when you start writing to these pages, it's like your thoughts are being as stunted as your sentences. There's some extra pages. I tried. I actually bound the whole entire thing, and I tried to use it. I lasted, I think, for a day, maybe two, and then it was a done deal. So I was kind of wondering what to do, and I went to the mall. It was a weekend. We went for a lunch with my son. He was home for the weekend. And we went to a bookstore. And they had some of the Leuchtturm 1917. They had these different Leuchtturm notebooks on 50% sale. So this is a B5 size, 27 euros 95 cents. It was in half price, and I bought one, and I bought another for my son. It was an A5, so just a slightly smaller. And I also had some shop credits, so that took another 5 euros away. And we had a lunch, and I was so thrilled about the find that we went back, and I bought us another set of notebooks. A B5 for me, this is my golden size really, and an A5 for my son. That's his, you know, preferred size, along with the pocket notebook size. And this is wonderful. This is wonderful, and I decided I've always adored this size the most. It's just that, you know, it can't be too thick. Now this is approximately a month's worth of everything, and here's the difference, used and unused. I don't do stickers. I don't draw pretty things. There are some watercolor things in a couple of places, because I was cleaning out my palette, and well, obviously I put that, but I don't decorate. I'm a practical planner. I don't do decorations. So I decided, and I counted, this one B5 soft cover. It has a soft cover. I love soft covers, and it has ivory pages, and it has, you know, rounded corners, which I adore. I was approximating that, considering I write every day. I write the morning pages. I will be doing a whole video series of the artist's way. I've been doing the morning pages. I've been writing every single morning, most of the mornings, not every single morning. There are a couple of mornings in a month that I just simply don't have the time perhaps to write, but most of the day, let's say 95% of the time, I'm probably writing morning pages. So minimum of, and sometimes I write even more. It was a 7th of this month when I purchased the notebooks, and I started this. And I don't know, maybe you could call this, I've done the whole bullet journal thing even before the bullet journal was called a bullet journal thing. I know a lot of people have, but I have to, I mean, I'll give props to those who deserve it. And I have to say, Ryder Carroll really has mastered the very thought. This is his book, The Bullet Journal Method. As you see, I read this through and through. I don't know how many times. And I actually started to make notes of make bullet points, if you will, of the very things that I think are kind of like the very message here. I mean, I dog ear pages, I annotate, I underline, I highlight, I do things. But there are so many things. I mean, there's such a good, the very terminology and explanations about decision fatigue and just everything. Ryder Carroll, he's not shy from the fact that he's a neurospicy person himself. He has ADHD, and the bullet journal method has helped him to stay on top of things. And the thing is, I started the year with good intentions to have several notebooks for everything, like to have things categorized. I've had things in a one book, in a one traveler's book that I've collected different notebooks in, and I've solidly called it the brain because that's what it's been. But the thing is, it becomes really thick all too sudden because you have your information, your collections, your this and that, and then there's a journal, and there's a planner part and everything. And then I started to do the bullet journal method. There is a bullet journal method that I wanted to try. I was a complete purist when the thing came, and very soon I noticed that the future log is entirely useless. I might as well draw the months in, because then I need to carry on and migrate everything to the next month, and I could just keep it in a separate notebook and shove it in between the pages and just take it away and put it back on a new notebook when I start. To the point, I'm rambling. I don't have forever kind of a time today, so I have to get going soon. Anyways, I was counting on the page, 123 pages. I was kind of guesstimating, considering that I already don't need the first month's worth of pages. Maybe this one book would carry me through the entire rest of the month, and it did. Might have contributed. I needed to be in a complete bed rest for a good couple of days this month. So during those days I didn't even write. And there were a couple of days afterwards that I wrote very little because I couldn't stay up for much. Say I wasn't up even hours. I was just popping up for a quick lunch or dinner or some such, and that's when I was sitting down writing. So I wasn't writing as much as I usually would have. But this is how I went about it. I love the papers, and actually I am going to do. I have these ink tests here at the very back. I'm going to take a comparison when it comes to, see, the back pages are the Commonplace journal, and I'm going to, I'm going to do an ink test and make a comparison to, in between, the Vietnamese paper of Moleskine, Leuchtturm 1917. This is 80 GSM. This is what was it, 70 or 60? Acid-free paper. The thing is, the composition notebook size has 120 pages. Oh, never you mind. Has a slightly thinner paper, I mean. But I'm going to do a comparative ink testing with with some certain pens. I've been writing on this paper with inks, with fountain pens. Again, with ballpoint pens, with gel pens. I've nearly outridden this. I have this Pilot G2.7. I like a nice juicy gel pen as well. I'm not a purist. I don't write just with fountain pens. But I did, as I mentioned, I started to go through the bullet journal method, the book that writer Carol has written, and I've been writing some notes from it. And how I go about this, because the Leuchtturm 1917, these 125 pages, the first 20 pages at the back are rippable. You have a little bit of a perforation here, and you can rip them off. So I started to write from the back, and then moving on to a new subject matter, to go to the front, because at the end of a day, when I'm done with this notebook, which is by the end of today actually, what I am going to do is I'll show you the rest of the pages. The thing is, here's where it stops. This is the change point of signatures, and from here on I'm going to splice this Commonplace Book part away and put it on a separate notebook, which is another one, but a Moleskine one. I actually took a little, as you can see, there are a little bit of a pages away because I put them here. I bound them together much like I bound this. So what I'm going to do is to take these pages and add them to here. I wasn't counting the pages or anything. Life's too short for that kind of stuff. I'm just going to, just tape them or glue them, do some such to them, and put them here. This will be my, because the thing is, when I read books, I'm actually quite a fast reader, and I read a lot, and I've read a lot. But my preferred method of reading is slow reading. I read especially I don't have the bandwidth at the moment to read any, let's say, novels. If I do read novels, it's usually I've noticed during the past few years, it's usually Dostoevsky or something dramatic and emotional and pathetic, and it's usually during the months of the fall months and the winter time. But usually it's about I've just ordered some books about writing, methods of writing. I've taken out prints. I haven't even had time to read this John Didion's On Keeping a Notebook that I absolutely will be doing, and different kind of books that makes you explore yourself a little bit. I actually did and I'm going to have to show you, I beg your pardon, I have to go get it. I just found this. Tove Jansson. If you're not familiar, this is the lady who wrote and created the Moomin. Did you know that the Moomin were originally created for adults? I could talk about this subject matter forever and a day. I've written all kinds of biographies, written of Tove Jansson, and I actually have a preferred one that is written by a quite close person to her. However many years I've written and studied her life, and I've seen several of her murals that she did, back in the days. Because she's a finished artist, so I have the local accessibility to those places, obviously. I didn't know she was writing novels. This Big Bertha here, how many pages? 496 pages. of novels. I saw this on a bookshop. I was on my way to fetch Indian ink, and I saw this. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" There was only 2 of these left, and I took this one. Such a great book. So when I said I don't really, read, any for entertainment, it's more like self-improvement department. I take it all back, because this is like every single sentence you read is a mind blown kind of an experience. Incredible. She could have been full-time authoress, Tove Jansson. Exquisite lady. Anyways, but even so, when I read this has been my bedside book. I've basically been reading this by hoisting this underneath my chin when I was lying down in bed, and I was, reading the pages, and that's why I have the pen here, because I was doing the underlining. I'm going to then have to go back and really read it, probably annotate it, etc. And I'm going to write notes. So whilst I do have these visual, beautiful, commonplace books, etc., this commonplace book is going to be a very, again, utilitarian. However, as we all see, and now the Moleskine Cahier, they come in a composition notebook size, so they are a tad wider than your traditional B5 size. Also just a smidgen shorter as well. You see? So what I did was I cut them. I cut this to 17.5. The correct measurement according to the ISO standards for B5 is 17.6. But I kind of like the slightly narrower. I know 1 millimeter does nothing, and actually if I was true to my word, I would have liked, as I've done in the past, I would have liked to make it even a little bit more narrow, much like the figures that Modigliani always painted, the elongated features. I like elongated notebooks, but you know what? When you do open a B5 sized notebook, I already did the, I remember, this was before I cut the pages narrower. Again, this is the Vietnamese paper. The one ink that did start to bleed a little bit is a drawing ink, and these are gushy, these are really liquid. But I want to do, ink tests on, parallel ink tests on the Leuchtturm 1917, which is 80 GSM, on a Moleskine that is either 60 or 70 GSM. I think it is 60 GSM. But the thing is, I'm going to go tomorrow to the bookshop. I'm going to try and find Victoria's journals, because they used to have 70 GSM cream colored paper, and until last year's summer I actually liked the paper more than the Moleskine Vietnamese, because it was really creamy, it was very smooth, it took every and any kind of a pen, but something happened to the quality, and they started to produce something akin to what this company, started to do, and everything started to bleed through, and it was just very unattractive. I've been kind of plagued about the idea. I have no idea what kind of a paper does the Victoria's journals use these days. I am going to try and find tomorrow, because they started to do thicker paper and the white paper. It hurts my eyes. I don't like it. Neurospicy in me likes to have things mellow and smooth. And the ivory colored paper, this is the Terence Trent D'Arby kind of a equivalent to his music. I like mellow paper. I like things smooth and friendly. Don't come to me with that stark white. We don't do that here. And something else, I actually printed papers from other authors. I want to go through these papers, some essays different authors and authors have written. This is just a common blue school notebook, A4 size, just because it's very practical, printing wise. So I'm just going to, this will be another one of those workbooks, and I'm going to collect some writing methods and philosophies different bookish people have. So that's what I'm going to do. So for every month I'm going to have a new notebook. And I was kind of accounting. Mrs. Moneypenny in me lifted her tightly bun head, and I was counting. So if in regular shop, in regular prices, this is 27 euros something, and the package for 3 of the Cahiers is 22 point something euros, and you get 3 notebooks, each 120 pages. So in all counted together, you get 360 pages for a lesser price, for less than third of a price, practically, if we divide it by the pages, because this is 123 pages, this is nearly the same, 27 something, and this would be a third of a 22 something. So it would make sense to get these Moleskine, as long as I can find the Vietnamese ones. And so what I did was, the 120 pages are here. I just cut them narrow, and I started to fill some things for next month, and a separate Commonplace Book, because then when I'm done with the book, I'm going to just splice this away. That'll be easy, and I will carry through to the next notebook, or then I'm going to archive it to the already existing Commonplace Book. Last night I just put a rubber band, because the pages are a little bit wide, so it makes sense to keep them closed. There is a back pocket, but it is on the very end. So did I do it already? So what I did was, and I noticed I don't need that much of an index space that I, the Leuchtturm Notes and Zipsen offers. So I just, I spliced a page in half. This is the info, and this is something that I just have to remember. I just, some randomities here, and then I just, I have a six ring personal binder that travels with me everywhere. I have my long-term collections there, because if you are familiar with the bullet journal methods, there is talk about collections. Now I have 0 indications of ever starting to write the collections over and over and over and over again. I have some lists of books and music and art materials that I simply, for obvious reasons, I can't acquire everything all at once. So I need to have it with me if I find something worth acquiring. So wherever this, this randomities that I need to remember, I'll just write it down here. If I run out of space during the, the month's time, oh well, then I'll just put some sticky notes or some such. And what I did, I actually printed, I don't know if it's because I'm running out of black ink or why, but it's a little bit fuzzy. Regardless, I printed a year's worth of it's a planner, and I have some things that I already know are going to happen on all the way up to August. Some situations I'm going to pen them down, and then I just taped it from here and here. I'll just take them away. And one trick that I do use that has served me so well, and I've done this before already, is the thing is my life has changed significantly over the past some years, and I've needed to adjust my planning situation to mirror the situation. And I have noticed that when I do have a page the size of B5, I actually can use these as weeklies in a horizontal manner. And for every day I just write a little bit, what happened, what do I have to remember, etc., etc. Now obviously I don't have any notes space here. That's when I can just fold this, and this, my lovely friends, is a note space for each week. Just, randomities. And if I run out of place, I have all kinds of post-its here. I mean, I don't have to remember which day I washed the refrigerator. I just need to know I did it every single week. So I can have, things like that on a post-it notes and then just toss them away or leave them. I mean, if I'm sentimental about, clearing up the fridge. You never know. And these are, usually I used to, like this month, I almost said last month, I almost had the tracker expanding all the way here, but I actually have some things I need to pre-plan for next month. So I'm going to have my goals, kind of a bit of a blueprint, so I get everything done for every single week. And this is a tracker. I haven't filled this up because I'm tracking things that could be considered to be personal information. So I have the dates, I'll have some other, measurements here, and I'll have the hours and, things that I track. And I do track things. It's to me it works and it makes sense. Might not work and might not make sense for everyone, but for my neurospicy brain, this is heaven sent. Things don't just get, they just don't fall through the cracks, and I feel like this way I feel accountable to someone, something, because every day I'm writing to my notebook, every day I'm journaling. See, this is my friend. So when I put a dot, did I do this on this day? When did this or that start, and when did it finish? Did I achieve what I was meant to achieve? I'm being held accountable. These are some other things I'm following every week. So I will fill this up later before tomorrow. What else? There's another. This is something I'm tracking on a weekly basis, and I made. So what was I saying? Let's see. Now you can see it. The B5 is a glorious size because you can fit in most of the countries, except for the States and Myanmar and another third country, someplace. Use for papers. I filled a fountain pen. So this is an A4. A4 is slightly shorter and slightly wider than a letter size, but according to the ISO standards, we use A4 size. When you fold it in two, you get an A5 sized paper. A5 sized papers, when they are sent to you, this is today's mail actually, are sent to you in a C5 sized, according to the ISO standards, envelopes. C5 is just slightly smaller than B5, and everything I need to remember for the month can be fit onto a nifty little pocket like this. And again, there is the Commonplace Book. So this will be my friend starting tomorrow for March. And I think it'll be quite handsome, because this is my golden size. I always loved B5 size, but my problem was I always collected the notebooks, and when I did collect the notebooks, they became this very thick situation. Like, let's imagine if we would have, you know, just to entertain the thought, all of these notebooks on a one traveler's notebook. This would be very thick and very heavy. I mean, my fingers already are hurting. I wouldn't be able to carry that everywhere. But now when I just have this one notebook, this one Cahier, it's in my bag. It fits. It's thin. It's nice. It's not that heavy to carry. I can manage this size. And now that I kind of wiggled, that everything that I acutely need is being found on this one notebook, I'm more than happy. I'm absolutely thrilled. And I did love the Leuchtturm 1917, because, you know, even though it is 80 GSM, I know there are those who like the thicker paper, and oftentimes I've noticed that these people, they like to decorate the pages. They perhaps use the notebooks during the longer span of time, and is well, that's not the case for me. I go through the pages. I write several pages a day. I don't sit down and fuss about fonts or lettering or rub-ons or stickers. That's a different kind of in a way, method of keeping a journal, and that's perfectly fine as well. I mean, this is the extent of my, on an average day, decoration, if you will. It's just writing. I just write. It's not stylized. It's just my natural longhand writing. Nothing special about it, and that's perfectly fine by me. So I actually, the reason why I have written so much with gel pen and with some ballpoint pens, I actually prefer gel pens because ballpoints are a little bit too dry to my liking. I like the gushy ones. What I also like is to see the ghosting. I know it's kind of a heebie-jeebies to also very many people. Well, I don't care. That's a you issue. That's not a me issue. But I love to see that, and I love to feel the kind of a, you know, penmanship on the other side of a page. It's a tactile experience, really. To feel it's much like, I have some of the very old books that were printed with copper plates in very old printing houses, and you can just, you know, you just feel the text. It's a very beautiful tactile experience, and that's what I find with thinner pages. And I was about to say before, I was again kind of wondering with my, I don't know, with my waffling, if you will, even though this is 80 GSM, you know, the Leuchtturm 1917, whereas in comparison, the A4 size with the people present to you, this is a hardcover, and let me, yeah, this is a unused spread. This is 100 GSM, also beautiful paper. I do enjoy using this as well, but the A4, because I'm a shrimp, I'm a short person, this to me feels like I'm carrying a minivan on my hands. That's how it feels to me. it's almost like this is the Goldilocks of the sizes. I do like the 13 centimeter, you know, the large Moleskine size. It's not A5, it's narrower than A5. A5 to me feels a little bit squarish, obviously. But then if we look up at the B5, it's a little bit squarish as well. But it's a practical size. And to me, it feels like I have space to think in this paper. I have space to plan. If I were to divide, and in most of my notebooks when I have a B5 size, I divide the page in 3 parts, and I have projects like both sizes. I have projects that are pending projects, and what I'm working on, what are going on at the moment, and what already has been done, or what I'm going to be doing. I mean, you can do the whole planning on a one spread, because there is that much more space. But this is not impossible to carry around. It's perfectly luggable. It's not impossible. And as I was saying, I was trying to say for the umpteenth time, even though the paper is 80 degrees, 80 GSM, it's still see-through. It still feels thin-ish. It's not too thick. And I know that this sounds like a sacrilege to also very many people who like the feeling of a thicker paper. And I do understand the lure as well. But for me, I've always preferred the crinkliness of it all. And I look forward to, I really look forward to experiencing the crinkliness and doing the comparisons of different pens on a Moleskine paper, because it's that much more thin. But we all know when it comes to consistency and the Moleskine paper, I mean, yeah, that's another question. But this luckily is Vietnamese paper. Anywho, so these are my ramblings of the A5 size. Sorry, not the A5 size, the B5 size. And I have to say, I'm very happy. I'm very happy, and I'm going to continue using the size. This the pen loop actually is this is leather. It's what I have as remnant from this notebook that I made. Can we see these are the same height. The B5 is just these are my knitting, some suches, and was it journal or was it oh, it's another knitting thing. See, I like the narrower page. I do like the narrower page. And this is Moleskine paper as well. I like to cut them a little bit too narrow. It's pretty. I like it. This this notebook folio color I did some while ago, and I wish there was more of this leather, but unfortunately it's finished. I got all the rest there was. And I love the cover so much, but again, as you see, I mean, these are just my hobbyish things. But see how thick it is. Even when this is a more narrow situation going on, it does take quite a bit of time on your bag, because I used to have this as a as a traveler's notebook before this became a hobbyish thing. And also it does gather weight. I have to say, this is much easier to carry, just one single notebook. But I can't lie, I foresee in my future leather covers, just so that when I do want to, and the summer is coming, and I'm going to be staying home more, it's about romanticizing about your life. I do want to see, say, if this was just a commonplace book and this was a notebook of a year, I could put them together in one covers. And how beautiful is a naturally tan leather when it gains some, patina over time. And how lovely it is to see this on a shelf right next to each other at the end of a year, and you can just add the stickers to the spine, telling which month it was. I don't think that's a very bad idea at all. Wishing everyone well, and until next time.